Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. It is Thursday, March the 19th, and man, what a week it's been. Got a lot of ground to cover. Of course, I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. I had an item on sale this morning. It's already gone. Listen, it is. You got to go quickly. There is no silver yet. No timetable for silver. If you have Silver Eagles, I'm now paying $3 over spot. Which I'll say this: that's the first time in Patriot history. We've been doing this a while. That we've ever paid that kind of money, $3 over spot on silver. Obviously, you know, we've talked about the paper markets and the physical markets. I've got news on that front. So something happened today. By the way, the bailout programs, I can't keep track of them all. The Federal Reserve announced about 4 more of them today, increasing. Now we're buying $75 billion of treasuries a day now out of the central bank. The government working on stimulus programs. You know, we had another huge down day yesterday. The Dow is up about 180 points. This is probably the calmest day in 2 weeks. I mean, we're talking, it's not even up 1%. So that's a huge improvement. I mean, right, we've been talking about lock limits and pauses and all these other things. This will be, and obviously the day's early, but if it doesn't move like at least 900,000 points, that'll be the first time in weeks that hasn't happened. We had jobless claims out today. I don't know if you saw the number, but it was a big number, but absolutely nothing compared to what we're going to see next week. 281,000 people for jobless claims today, which, you know, if you've been following jobless claims at all, I mean, we haven't had a number above 235 in years, like 4 years above 235. And most of the numbers have been between 200 and 220. Today, 281, the highest level since before Trump was president. And my guess is that was probably a strike of some kind or something. I'm sure of it. But I believe next Thursday's jobless claims number will be north of 750,000. It could be as high as 2 million. I'll break down the early reporting from a handful of states, what I'll call the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday reporting. This was a week before. The 281 this week reflected before all the big shutdowns happened. So be ready for that. That's going to be a number that we've never seen. The highest that I remember, and like I said, you know, we've been here. This is 24 years. This is my 17th year doing this. The highest number I even remember, I think 1 week of the financial crisis was like 600,000. That's as high as I know. And let's just say that that's right. I expect us to break, and let's assume that if that was a record, we're going to break the record next week for weekly jobless claims. But a lot of intervention from central banks all over the world. I mean, literally almost every central bank in the world is now supporting markets and buying stuff. The Bank of England took their rates to zero now. They're buying stuff. The ECB came out with almost $1 trillion buyback package of buying back European debt. Germany suspending the debt limits and all these other things. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the market. I'll bring them to you as they happen. Got a great show for you lined up. A lot of information. Here's the good news, and I know you always give the bad news. Let me give you some good news. We're closer to the end than we are the beginning. We're closer to the end than we are the beginning. No doubt about that. I think the next 4 to 6 weeks, is going to be the worst of it. I think this is when, and then things are going to start getting better from there. At least that's what I hope. I'm going to talk about David Ackerman, Pershing Capital Management. They're a huge hedge fund. He was on TV yesterday for about 30 minutes, and I think he's right in what's going to happen next, what needs to happen next. I don't think it's going to scare a lot of people, but it is what it is. The state of New York, a massive increase, almost 2,000 new cases in the state of New York alone in the last 24 hours. They have not done shelter in place yet. Instead, they don't want to do it, and I get it. I understand it. Governor Cuomo now says if you are a non-critical worker, you must only have 25% of your employees come in, so that more layoffs coming out of the state of New York. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. I cannot even give you how many dividends have been suspended in the last 48 hours. Company after company after company. TJ Maxx, the latest. By the way, TJ Maxx closing all stores, getting rid of, stopping buybacks, and saying they haven't said what they're going to cut the dividend to, but saying they're going to be cutting the dividends. All the major automakers in the United States have now shut down. The big three, Ford, GM, Fiat, Chrysler, are all shutting down. They either shut down yesterday or today's essentially the last day. Tesla is defying an order in California and still have 2,500 people at the plant. That's not nearly enough to run the plant, but they're actually defying the city there. We'll see how long that lasts. But Ford already has suspended its dividend, drew down its. They had a $15 billion credit revolver, and we're seeing more and more and more of these things play out. I told you about New York. Now, I don't know how that works. I mean, is that they're going to start counting how many employees you have, right? Well, you had 100 employees, only 25 can go to work. Again, the mayor of New York City wants the governor to do the shelter in place. Remember, I told you shelter in place. Get used to that term, shelter in place. That's a fancy word for martial law, right? Don't leave the house. And he wants the governor to do it. So, they're having this thing, hey, I don't want to be the guy that do it, you do it. I'm not doing it, you do it. I think everyone's going to have to do it. If you do yourself a favor, you can listen to Bill Ackerman. He was on CNBC yesterday. He gave a big interview. Just to put it in perspective, you're starting to see in the last 24 hours this big push that all you millennials out there, that for the longest time since this virus has started, where, hey, you guys weren't going to be affected, they're now trying to say, oh, wait, that's wrong. We didn't know, and now it is, and you're in trouble, right? They're trying to get people, they're upset. People are still going out. People are still doing things. Ackerman, he's got an 81-year-old father who had part of his lungs removed. He's one of those people that if he gets coronavirus, right, he's a goner. And he doesn't want his dad to be dead. He's calling for the United States to go full-blown China. calling for a 30-day shutdown of the entire country, and actually made a case that it would actually be better for the companies, because then there would be some defined and definite answer. The whole country is going to shut down. Nobody goes to work except for, right, obviously, nurses and doctors, people that make the water turn on and the electricity, right? You know, the emergency type people, and that's it. Everybody stays home. Everybody else stays home, and the government sends checks to everybody. You suspend all payments, right? So no rents, no mortgages, no loan, no car payments, no credit card payments, no tax payments, no payments at all. And essentially just say, hey, everybody, he called it an extended spring break at your house. And you know what? I think it's not a bad idea, because I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's actually what's going to happen. I mean, I'm looking at New York now. At this point, okay, you know, New York all by itself has over 4,000. Of course, as we're talking, I bet you New York now has over 5,000 cases, maybe 6,000. And now they're at hey, only 25% of your workforce can go to work. I mean, we're almost kind of there anyway, but we'll have to wait and see. But if you have a chance to listen to it's an interesting point. He says if you do that, then you're going to save a lot of bankruptcies. I think his company is the largest shareholder in Hilton. He says they're bankrupt. And that if you don't want them to be bankrupt, this is what we have to do. The whole world's got to take a 30-day spring break, and it's just one of these things where, as we sit here and we talk about bankruptcies, you know, you look at now the big three autos. Are they going to need bailout again? Because if their plants are closed, they have no revenue. They have no revenue, because how they get revenue is as the cars come off the production line and they go out to the dealers, that's when they get paid. They don't get paid when you buy the car at the Ford dealership or at the GM dealership. They got paid already, so they're going to have no revenue coming in. CNBC was reporting that car sales this last week were down 20%. This weekend, they were down 36%. They think by next weekend, car sales will be down by 50% or more. The Homeowners Association came out and says that they expect home sales to fall by 35%. I don't know. I'm just, all we can do is report what's out there. But Ackerman was just making the point that we cannot have this thing draw out 12 to 18 months, because he said all of these companies would be bankrupt, and he's talking about all the small business owners and all those things. If you kind of know, okay, listen, everybody shut down for a month, but no one has to make any payments, and the government will send checks so everyone can get food, and then after 30 days you realize it's not a bad idea. That's all I'm saying. It's not a bad idea. If we're going to make this thing into what it is. Now, we can argue that this is ridiculous and that we don't think it's going to be the worst-case scenario, but, again, I don't know how many people dying is too many, right? We've got 150, 160 dead right now. Of course, the scare number is 1 million plus, which would be horrible. But if it's 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, would all of this be worth it? And I think we're past that, because they made the decision. Yup, it is. And so we got to be dealing with what is happening right now. And I'm going to read to you what's happening and how many people are losing their jobs. If you're not in some of these states where they've gone, really restrictive, shutting all the bars, all the restaurants, all these things, you're not getting a full example. Pennsylvania, 50,000 people filed for unemployment claims on Monday. And the Tuesday figure surpassed that, according to the state of Pennsylvania. How many people filed jobless claims 2 weeks ago there? 14,000. So Pennsylvania says, hey, in 2 days, we've had over 100,000 people file for unemployment benefits on a time when it should have been 14,000. Ohio, 11,995 filed for unemployment claims on Sunday, 36,645 on Monday. Compared that to the Sunday before, there was 445. So one Sunday ago, 545. This Sunday, 12,000. Monday, that number jumped to almost 37,000. Minnesota, 31,000 people filed for unemployment on Monday and on Tuesday. That is 10 times more compared to the same time last week. Or same time last year. Same week last year, 10 times more. Connecticut, 30,000 unemployment claims on Friday to Tuesday. The average is around 3,000. So that's a 10-time jump. So take 281 that we had today, add a zero. Add a zero. That'd be 2.8 million.
Hey, Joe,
There's several people out there saying that 2 million is possible.
Joe, let me jump in.
Jason, are you there?
Yeah, let me jump in for 1 second. Our news feed that came into this hour, I'm going to play it again on the long break here. Colorado has 10,000 jobless claims that came in. The computers were crashing. They were having trouble with the volume coming in so quickly. But they said the unemployment office is not panicking. They're not worried. They think there's going to be plenty of money, because they're depending on the government. But they fully expect 200,000 people to be filing in the next week or two, or a couple of weeks. 200,000. That's 3.5%.
Colorado's on our list here. And Jason's right. They had 3,900 claims on Monday, 6,800 claims on Tuesday. And remember, Colorado system has been crashing. The Monday before, they had 400 people.
And they expect 200,000. They're expecting 200,000, which that's 3.5% of the entire population of Colorado that's going to file for unemployment in the next couple of weeks.
And it's incredible. It's amazing to think about it. Massachusetts, 20,000 people filed for unemployment benefits on Monday alone, compared with just 17,382 for the whole month of February. So you can see the magnitude of this thing. Texas, 16,000, right? This is oil field. Texas hasn't shut their bars and restaurants. 16,000 compared to only 4,000 a week earlier. New Jersey alone, 15,000 people sought benefits on Monday before their site crashed. Kentucky, 9,000 people sought benefits, and the list just goes on and on and on. And, New York and California and Washington didn't even provide numbers. But I wanted to give perspective to this. I don't want you to be shocked. I don't want you to cause you to panic even more, but this is massive. The amount of people being put out of work is far, far reaching, the magnitude of which we have never seen. Obviously, this is a huge problem that needs a huge answer. And I know the president now, they're talking about sending out 2 $1,000 checks. Here's the problem. They're not even on this legislation yet. Tomorrow they're hoping to have an initial bailout number. By the way, number of industries seeking a bailout continues to grow by day. The unofficial tally right now, because we know about the airlines, they want $50 billion. The airports want $10 billion. Boeing wants $60 billion. I told you about the public transportation systems like in New York and Chicago, California. They need billions. Amtrak needs billions. The unofficial tally right now is standing at $1 trillion, and you've got so many others that we're still waiting, like the auto industry now. How long can Ford, GM, and Fiat go without producing any cars? But you look at the volume on the cars, right? I mean, listen, if car sales are going to be down 50, 70, 80%, I mean, just last week, the volume, we were average, say, 17 million annualized. They're talking, well, last week the annualized was about 11 million. I mean, that's huge. And now they're saying, hey, by the way, we actually think the volume for the following week is going to be 50% or less. So you're talking about, 8 million cars? These are hard things to fathom. They've got to be able to make these debt payments. I don't know how they're all going to do it. And I'll say this. I know they want to tell you, oh, the bank's got plenty of liquidity. They don't have $10 trillion of liquidity. They don't. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, and we're upholding the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly, grassroots activist, author of 27 books, and articulate voice for traditional values for more than 70 years. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Many people don't know what it means to be a feminist. The premier feminist organization, the National Organization for Women, known as NOW, helpfully spelled out what it calls the Feminist Action Agenda. So you will know what feminism stands for. I'm going to tell you what NOW is demanding that the government do. Appropriate $10 billion every year for daycare so that mothers can be liberated from caring for their own babies. Stop federal funding of marriage promotion and fatherhood programs. Stop all funding for abstinence education and replace it with funding for federal programs that emphasize contraception. Repeal all the restrictions put into place by welfare reform that encourage welfare recipients to seek a job or job training. Here are some more feminist demands. Enact the Freedom of Choice Act, which would repeal all national and state regulations of abortion passed over the last 35 years, including the ban on partial birth abortion. Repeal the Hyde Amendment, which bans federal taxpayer funding for most abortions. Halt adoption of a conscience regulation to allow doctors and other healthcare workers to refuse to perform abortions or provide services they believe are morally objectionable. Remove the age restriction on over-the-counter so-called emergency contraception. Promote abortion programs, services, and advocacy in other countries. And appropriate at least $1 billion for international family planning. Approve funding for embryonic stem cell research that requires killing embryos. Appoint federal judges who support abortion and other feminist goals. Ratify the long-dead Equal Rights Amendment. Ratify the United Nations Treaty on Women, which would make our laws, customs, and textbooks subject to supervision and control by a UN Committee of Feminists.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report with Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. If you're busy taking notes, you can stop now, because these commentaries in written form and spoken audio are archived on the website phyllisschlafly.com. Many recorded by Mrs. Schlafly herself. If you're doing research or missed a day, just go to phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening and re-listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. Disney now, the latest, saying they just came out saying that they can't give any guidance. They don't know how to track it. I think a lot of companies are that way. Jason just played, for those of you that aren't on the Colorado feed, Jason just played the news break. So far in the first 3 days of the week in Colorado, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 20,000 people have filed for unemployment claims, but the site keeps crashing. They said there, though, they expect the number to be 200,000. So let's just use Colorado as an example. 200,000 times 50, that's 10 million people. Just to kind of put that into perspective, the Dow, the S&P's gone negative. The Dow is up 7. So we'll keep watching here. The president's giving another briefing talking about who's going to get a bailout, who's not going to get a bailout, and what the rules are going to be and all these things. And it's too early to tell. I'll say this right now. Boeing still hasn't announced that it's cut its dividend to zero. Right? How can we bail them out until they do? Their stock's still at $90-something. It makes no sense. These shareholders should absolutely not get rewarded. So I hope, and listen, if they're going to bail them out, fine, you bail them out. But let's make sure that they don't get rewarded for the bailout like it happened the last time around. But let me give you an update of the ask so far. So this is what is in front of Congress. U.S. restaurant trade groups on Wednesday asked the White House and congressional leaders for $455 billion in aid. I'll just make it simple for you guys. I don't think outside of, McDonald's, Taco Bell, the true, what I would call true fast food restaurants, that most of their business was drive-through anyway, all the other restaurants go out of business. It's just that simple. And this is why you're seeing all of these layoffs. They said that the industry will lose half of its 15.6 million jobs. And so, you kind of do the math. You're like, okay, well, there's 7.5 million people out of work. The National Restaurant Association, so that's a little different. They asked for 200 or said that sales will take a $225 billion hit in the next 3 months. By the way, restaurants in this country, a quarter, do just under $900 billion a quarter on average. So that gives you the scope there. The American hotel and travel industry met with the Trump administration on Tuesday. They asked for $250 billion, saying that thousands and thousands and thousands of workers furloughed. I'll just tell you what Bill Ackerman said. He said every hotel chain in the country is bankrupt. And he made a good point. When you think of the big ones, Marriott, and you think of Hilton, the thing you've got to remember, they operate very few hotels. They just collect the royalties for the use of their names. And he said most of the hotels are operated by small groups. Like, hey, I may have one hotel, or I may have 5 or 10 hotels, right? This is the thing that we've got to keep in mind. They want $150 billion in direct aid to the hotel industry, and then $100 billion related for travel companies, which includes the convention business. Man, can you imagine if you were a caterer right now? The U.S. Conference of Mayors has asked for $250 billion in localized aid to help with the stop of the spread of viruses in their cities. And this is, public health departments supporting small business and food insecurities that are sweeping the country right now. We know that Boeing's asked for $60 million. The airline has asked for $50 billion. By the way, Delta today said that they're parking 60% of all their aircraft. That was the announcement out of Delta, and I think before it's done, it's going to get bigger than that. But just to give you an idea of what's happening, how about the Native American gambling industry? By the way, I saw Talking Stick, the casino near my house, closed. They're requesting $18 billion in federal aid. Airports are seeking $10 billion in federal aid. Amtrak is asking for $1 billion of federal aid. So just to give you the flavor of the type of bailouts that we're talking about, this thing, and we're not done. I mean, we're still in the early stages here. My guess is it's going to be a couple trillion, $2 to $3 trillion in bailouts before this whole thing is said and done. So it's really hard to watch as we're sitting here and we're listening and watching the state's jobless claims number. Today's jobless claims number was 281,000, which was the highest in 4 years. Next week's number, I think my number's low. I'm at 750 to a million. A lot of people out there are saying don't be shocked if we see a 2 million plus handle jobless claims. And so it's really hard to really kind of understand how all of this is going to work out. When we're talking about, Steve Mnuchin saying, hey, the unemployment rate could go to 20%. It's starting to look like, wait a minute, that may not be that far up, but it's still, could you imagine an unemployment rate of 10? Right, just 10% is devastating. Forget about 20%. So I don't know what it's all going to take, but it's going to be a wild, wild ride. When we get back, I've got a new special. I'm going to tell you that I'm waiting to say what it is because I want as many people to be able to take advantage. Things are going very, very quickly. The silver situation is what it is still. There's no silver available. I am buying Silver Eagles at $3 over spot if you need to liquidate. If you're one of these unfortunate people that is being caught up in the closures and the layoffs, call us and we can help you at 800-951-0592. The president just announcing that he supports government taking equity stakes in companies. Equity stakes in companies. It's going to be a lot. Listen, whether you like it or not, I don't like it myself, but this isn't as bad. Last time when it was just bad behavior. Trust me, there was a lot of bad behavior on buybacks, but for a lot of these companies, they're going to go under on something that wasn't their fault. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. John Hopkins is now saying that the United States is well over 10,000 cases of the coronavirus. On March the 1st, there were roughly 100 confirmed cases. So you can see, the spread of this thing. I think things are going to get worse before they get better. I wouldn't be shocked if we got to go full-blown shutdown of everything. And anyway, it is what it is. We're going to be left with the pieces. Here's what I've got. I've got 40 $5 Liberty gold pieces. These are the old ones, 1866 to 1907, at $455. I've got $20 gold pieces. I've got a decent supply of $20 gold pieces at $1,750 at 800-951-0592. Gold's up 3. Kitco will say it's down, but from New York close to New York close, gold's up 3. Make it 4 now, $14.82. Silver's up 37 cents at $12.08. And let me tell you the biggest thing that happened for gold and silver today. Like I said, all these central banks, I can't even tell you all the things they did. But one of the big things, and we've been talking about how the need for cash and selling what you need, and really, I probably needed to be a little more specific, the need for dollars. Still today, 64% of all debt, if you will, purchases is made with dollars. Now, that's down from 75%, but still, a lot of these foreign companies, they have debt that payment is due in dollars. So the problem they've been having is their central banks are out there and they're supporting them, right? You know, in Japan, as an example, they're buying everything. Well, Japan's buying it in yen. And the companies are like, but I got to make my payment in dollars. I don't need yen. I need dollars. And so they've been forced to sell anything. So all the commodities are all traded in dollars. So you've seen a lot of liquidation in dollars because they've got to make these payments in dollars. Today, the central bank opening the dollar window to other central banks now that will be able to help these companies now, you know, hey, buy some, I got this debt, buy my debt, but pay me in dollars so I can pay my notes off that need to be paid in dollars. And I think you'll see the gold and silver markets now stabilize because there's going to be less need now for dollars. And that's been the main reason. We've seen it all throughout. You know, the oil industry, right? We know about Saudi Arabia and the falling demand, but that was a commodity that was in dollars as well. And you know, you look at platinum and palladium and rhodium and all these others, all in dollars. Bitcoin, you could get dollars, right? So you've seen all of that liquidation. That action happened today, and I'm not real surprised here that gold and silver at least have taken a breather here. I think the demand for dollars is going to, or the need to sell what you can to raise dollars because now they can get it from their central bank. So $5 liberties at $4.55, $20 libs at $17.50. We've got two lines open, 800-951-0592. Ralph Lauren and Dick's joining the list. They're closing all of their stores. So we're starting to see the retailers just shutting down because they don't have enough sales. If you don't have food or toilet paper, nobody wants to go. So all of these retailers, this is more people out of work. I mean, that's really what's going to happen here. The Dow is they like the president's response that he's okay with the government taking stakes in companies. And at this point, I don't know what else we can do because millions and millions of people are being put out of work. So we'll have to see how all of this plays out. But again, I think big news out of the central bank today. They're going to provide dollars to the other central banks, which is going to reduce the need. There's been a major dollar shortage out in the world. And you saw the dollar got to like 103. I mean, you think about it, we cut rates to zero in in less than 3 weeks. We went from 1.5 to zero, and yet the dollar has been on this huge rally. Right now, the dollar's at 102.5, 102.5. So off of its high, but it's been incredible because the reason is all these companies got to pay a lot of these notes in dollars and weren't able to get those dollars. The central bank today, one of a lot of things they did. Like I said it earlier, they're buying $75 billion of treasuries every single day now, and I don't know. They only announced a $750 billion QE package earlier this week. I mean, I know how to do math. I'm like, okay, that's 10 days. That's 10 days. The markets have been not functioning very well. Value at risk. That's another phrase you need to know. Shelter in place, value at risk. This was created by J.P. Morgan in the 90s. It is a way for hedge funds and big major banks to calculate the risk. The value at risk bonds, if you will, have been exploding to the upside, and they're asking the central bank to help them out, right? Another bailout, if you will. We'll keep you posted on that as well. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 9510592. Just going quick. 25's left. That's it. At 455. The 20s, I'm down to 50. Just that quick. And volumes have been very, very, very strong. This is by far, that's the first time we've run a sale, really, all in a week and a half. So $5 Liberties, I got 20 left at $4.55. $20 Liberties, I got about 50 of those left at $1,750. And just to put it in perspective, I had 10s on sale today. They're already sold out. The 5s, like I said, we had about 70 of them when I started this morning. We got 20 left. The 20s, I had over 100 20s to start the day. And we're down to really 50, probably a little less than 50 at 800-951-0592. The Dow is up 300 points. This is a very tame. So we haven't seen a tame session, but it's up 300, which is about 1.6%. Gold's up $3 right now. Silver, when was the last time I could say silver was up? Silver's up about 35 cents now at just over $12 to the ounce. If you need to sell Silver Eagles, I'm paying $3 over spot. I'm paying $15 on ounces on U.S. Silver Eagles. I know that's not great because the price. Listen, based on demand, silver should be probably like $25, right? I get it, but it is what it is. But we're paying $3 over. If that can help somebody out there, we're happy to do it. 800-951-0592. I'm told that tomorrow that the Congress is trying to pass the next stimulus bill. This one, at least what I'm told, is supposed to be bailout money, at least a start to bailout money. These checks that they keep talking about, I don't have great news there. That's not going to happen this week. So it looks like that's going to be pushed into next week. So the earliest that I see checks going out to people is probably late in the first week of April, because by the time they pass it and then they get, whatever it is, who gets it, who doesn't, that in order, and then, of course, they've got to They got to print them out or do it. I don't know how if it's going to be just deposited or printed out and get all the logistics worked out. It's probably not going to be till that first week of April before people start seeing money, because at least as far as I have been told and what I've been reading, Congress right now is working on bailout money. Yesterday they passed like extended family leave and all that stuff. Now it's this bailout money, and I don't know the size. I'm not privy to that. I don't know if it's $1 trillion, $500 billion, what it is. And then after that one, then they're going to everybody gets a check. At least that's how I understand it right now. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back for one more show. By the way, big shipping day too today, so be ready for those if you're waiting for boxes. We'll be back tomorrow for one last show.